Yep, it works now.
All right. Yes, I have been working on something for you guys since yesterday, so it was a really quick thing. I just got the idea for it and finally had the motivation to actually do it. And again, it was a rush job, so don't expect it to look amazing or to be amazing or what have you. But I figured that since we're going to be here for a little while, that I would give you all something very nice to look at, which would be
Holy shit.
the actual partial layout of Abcassis itself, including in yellow would be the taverns that you all know of. In green would be the guild halls, including the Planar Hunters Guild, still there in the military ring. The red marking obviously is the military for the Blood Onyx. The light blue would be the Temple of Ezia and the Sapphire Citadel. And those in purple, or lavender, whatever color that is, those would in fact be the noble houses. And as you see in orange, there are vacancies, which can be purchased if you talk to the right people. And of course, down here in the trade ring, in white, you have the established shops that you are mostly aware of, including the blacksmith Master Enti's Forge and the newly established Thrastle's Threads. And again, it is not my best work, but I did what I could.
Looks good.
It looks really good.
And also in this manner, I can more accurately place where you all currently are in the city and maintain memory. With Nomad and Misted being up in the Black Keep, I'm not adjusting that because I don't know exactly where she would be going otherwise. Because I don't know what the hell she was supposed to be doing the previous session either, but. And this is the markers of last we left off, with Tyrrell having been accosted and violated. He got Bill Cosby down in the annex by Madras and Eartham, and we ended with him staggering, limping through the rings of Abcassis, heading towards, you'd assume, the gate. And Elbrig, having spent time with Thrastle on his way in, and learning that Thrastle had recently purchased the vacancy that is now his shop, and had moved all the way from Ashstone all the way here to Abcassis with it, based on the finances and financial help he had gotten from Elbrig over his patronage. Thrastle also received a notation or a letter coming through and acquired your guys' horses and carts that were left in Serpent's Calling, and brought them along with him at the behest of Captain Cadmus. And Nomad had last time kind of had a bit of an existential crisis and sought out some possible therapy, but didn't really have many answers given to him, and proceeded to return to the room. Misted did fuck off, whatever Misted did. She's caring for her egg and was wandering around with Sinfori. And that is where we left off last session. For a mental note, the current time in the city is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is where we are picking up. And as Tyrrell makes his way down through the rings, and Elbrig begins to make his way back towards, I believe I remember you saying you're heading back towards the Black Keep.
No, no, no. I was dropping off Thrastle, and then I'm going back to the merchant ring because I'm trying to find That very powerful trader who comes through, who's supposed to come through in the next few days.
That is correct. I couldn't remember if you had gone up or down.
We're going down, 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 down,
Mm.
down.
But as Tyrell is making his way, limping the entire way, down from the military ring into the residential ring, Tyrell, the first thing you notice on your left is Sinfori seemingly wandering about and returning from some location further up.
I'd just, if I see her, notice her, and like she just noticed me, I'd just give her kind of weak little wave. Just be like, problem sorted for now.
She just looks at you, looks at your condition, and just kind of shakes her head. Do you need any healing?
That wouldn't hurt.
You see, you're just pulling, just pulling a fucking like horse whip. All right, stand still. I'm just kidding. That'd be horrifying to see. But now she comes over and grants you a, let's see, second level cure wounds because you look pretty fucking roughed up.
Hell yeah.
Hell
They give me-
yeah. Once the dice actually decide to stop bouncing around, I'll tell you.
They choose not to.
I mean, it's fair. It's dice. Like, they do what they please. And that is... you get 8 health back.
Hell yeah.
A 2
The
and a
limping
1.
only stops in- The limping only stops in one leg.
Got the absolute shit kicked out of you, but it's okay.
I'm alright, I swear. Not really. Send help.
Please, send help. It was painful. Don't eat the pudding. And she just kind of asks you, like, where you're heading off to.
I'd just tell her that, after finally getting rid of the one weapon I couldn't let go of for now, I am headed towards Palatora's Grove.
She just nods and... Do you know where to go? Or...
Not really.
And she points down towards the merchant's ring. And towards where the area where the gate that you had gone to previously. Out that gate, to the left, the first grove of very, very large, dense trees. You really can't miss it.
What was that?
She tells you that out the smaller gate that you had gone to previously to help lock down the city. Go out that gate, turn to your left, and the first large cluster of very large trees. You really can't miss it. That would be where she typically resides.
Okay. I just thank her for her directions and start headed that way.
Limp, 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 limp. And still gathering the attention of everyone walking by like, damn, he got fucked up. And as you make your way down the residential ring into the trade ring, you and Elbrig would see the same exact thing at the same exact time, roughly. Of a strange, kind of scrawny individual looking about, seeming a little bit lost, before their eyes kind of settle on a particularly large tower that Elbrig is quite familiar with, but still seeming a little bit apprehensive. As the two of you see this stranger standing amidst the open trade ring.
He looks about 170 centimeters, not too terribly tall, with
Oh, no.
basic traveler's clothes.
Guys, he's using metric. I don't know that. I was raised in America.
That's about 5.10 the freedom units for you.
Oh, okay. Thank God he's normal sized.
Thank God he used the freedom units.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kindness.
Yeah, he is wearing normal used traveler's clothes, a brown cloak that covers most of his body, and you can see him like take a couple of steps at one direction and then try to not bump into a stranger, and is not making quite the progress he wants to, but he is slowly heading to the citadel.
You said Elbert
does-
find me for this?
Yes, Elbrick,
Yeah.
until you both see this individual.
You coming from the register one, I'm coming up from the, I guess, grapple thread.
Hmm.
He's immediately suspicious. We avoid him. I'm kidding.
Yes.
Do
I
you
think you
guys
mean he's immediately suspicious. We recruit him. I feel like that's how we've gotten everyone so far.
That is the directions currently.
stand out in the crowd too much?
Funny
I'm
you should
blue.
ask. What you see is because you do have Samson with you, right?
Yep.
You see a rather dour looking halfling astride a rather large dog. And just the dog is just happily trotting along, seemingly heading towards the ring that you had just come from.
I'd like to put into context how large this dog is, because Samson
is.
is not just a large dog. Samson is stacked for a pooch.
He is big. And coming down from the residential ring, which is the ring above where you currently are, you see a limping, staggering, bruised all to hell blue tiefling.
Like, do you know how large Saint Bernards are?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
mastiff.
yeah. I looked up earlier the size of whatever mastiffs they were. Yeah,
Yeah, the Tibetan
can imagine.
mastiff.
Yeah, the Tibetan mastiff.
Yep,
Because that's
Yep.
the image I gave Pat when I chose Samson. I chose a Tibetan mastiff.
yep,
Yeah,
Tibetan
Samson
mastiff.
is
A big boy.
Samson is a big boy.
And super happy.
Super happy guy who could take on a black bear.
Mm-hmm. Of Shark.
Not necessarily a grizzly bear, but could totally take a black bear.
That-
But you said you're in a mostly brown cloak that covers a lot of your body, right?
yeah, it covers most of my body. There's some basic traveler's clothes that you would find in like a communal store, a general store. From another city, although it looks like it doesn't have any of these, any the look of the strangers passing him by. And he has a couple of trinkets on his backpack, and you can see, the general traveler's backpack with sleeping bag and so on.
You said trinkets, right?
Yes.
What type of trinkets? That's because Elbert would be like passing you by, giving your trinkets on. So
As you look it over, the trinkets mostly seem to consist of a sort of vials or other small satchels that look discolored, and there is also what looks to be almost a letter tied to his backpack. And as you kind of come near him, uh, Corvo uh, eyes the dog, takes a couple of steps back. Uh, excuse me, sir.
Hmm?
Uh, that there. He points towards the sapphire citadel. That's a place of knowledge, right? The sapphire citadel.
technically, yeah. Mm-hmm. With a bunch of magic people. think it's more of a school. Yeah, I guess you could call it a place of knowledge.
Is there requirements to get into it? I'm
Yes,
new around here.
yes,
Oh,
there are.
what?
I don't actually know the specific requirements. I got in on the word of a friend and mentor, so it can actually help you with the actual requirements. I was more of, I know a guy, or in this case, a girl.
Oh, uh, hmm. Well, do you know someone who could help me out? Kind of shrugs. I just need to no, get into there.
Would come closer on the dog again. Dog doesn't look scared at all. It's literally just stupid happy grin. But like, why do you need to get in there?
Um, well, I from what my legends and my father has told me, there's information there on a cure to my village's sickness. Uh, it's kind of looks around, kind of ashamed. Look, sir, I just need to get in there.
Um, what about the? I think I see a letter there on your pack. You don't already have like a letter of introduction?
Oh no, no, that's a different thing.
Huh. Well, like he puts a hand up behind his head and kind of scratches it. I could help, but I'm not sure if I should help. Um, fuck it. She did do this arena. Fine.
So
I'll
Albrig,
take you there.
as
He,
as he's
Garbo,
as he's kind of like looking back and forth between the two of you during this conversation, you notice something oddly familiar about this individual.
yeah, Garbo kind of looks you in the eyes, and you can see a deep purple in on his irises. It's very distinctive.
And you have seen this color of eyes once before.
I like in the moment it's like I guess I'll and I notice the eye color. I'll pause and be like, hmm.
Something on my clothes.
No, nothing about your clothes. Just give me a single moment here, and he'll like just kind of take a thinking pose. Alright. Okay, just so this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass, I will actually take you there.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Super crowns, chaos, and get me in trouble. They then turn, I guess, towards the residential district, so let's go there.
So, sorry, excuse me. So, from your memory, Elbrig, this wasn't part of a crown. You remember a human having these similar eye colors from the archive.
Who's the guy I was talking to, and I was trying not to break the rules?
That this was the individual from the archive of Aester back in Delvi Ixnam, who was the underkeeper and prioritized and specialized in engineering and technology.
Ah, I'd still very much consider purple being the fucking
I mean,
crown.
that is completely fair.
I would still totally be like, oh crap, no, I gotta do this otherwise Intrigue's gonna come out over and beat me.
The purple of the thing that you're thinking of is more incidental in the sense that it's not like I assume that this individual's purple eyes are like, oh, his eyes are just purple. It's not like, oh, his eyes have streaking purple lightning going through them.
No, no, no. I believe what Quinn is referencing and remembering is the pink eyes of one Mtrix.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Also,
So
probably not
she
like that.
again, no, even though it's pink eye. I mean, I'm passing this person
Oh God,
in.
who has pink eye?
Oh God damn it! I knew that was coming as soon as I said it. The point is, with a flash of like seeing the color that could be purple, I would sigh and be like and say, "So this doesn't come to bite me in the ass. I will take you because as much as it might be different, I'm afraid of Ventrix whether you like it or not."
You
That
are
is
what?
perfectly fair.
That was out of character, but yeah,
Ah, okay.
the in character it's I so that this doesn't come to bite me in the ass. I will take you there, and then I will begin to lead you to the Sapphire City.
I promise I won't be a bother.
It's not you who I'm worried about.
Then may I ask who?
You can ask. I don't feel like telling.
All right. Nods.
Also, once you come into a bit more money and you may need better clothing, I have this friend. His name is Thrassel. He runs Thrassel's Friends. You should go there for any clothing needs.
I will keep it in mind.
Like seriously, it's one of the best places. The current outfit I'm wearing, though it seems simple, it's actually very sturdy and has survived an entire like 3 month journey across the sea and back, and adventuring against
Okay, it's
undead
official, guys.
creatures.
Elbrig is a sellout.
He's not a
I
sellout. He is an entrepreneur of his friend's business. He knows how to get this shit done. Marketing.
yes, when I come into
Ah, so he's a
more
shill.
funds, I will consider it. I'm tight on money.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you ever want to upgrade, that's the place to upgrade. He's a wonder, and he also can work with unknown material. Materials that are not necessarily on the normal.
What do, what does it entail?
I found a certain type of silk that is not normally used in clothing. I gave it to my friend Thrassel at Thrassel's Threads, and now, even though I can't wear the heavy armor or leather armor that a lot of the more robust frontliners wear, I'm not protected.
Oh, well, that sounds amazing.
It is. I like there was like it was one of those off on the whim type things, and I pretty much just go into detail about my journey about Thrastle and everything as I
Mm-hmm.
lead you to the Sapphire City.
Yeah, he just nods and continues to listen.
Tyrell, do you have anything to this spectacle, or?
I'm just sitting there watching this play out, wondering what the fuck just happened.
I have a horrible passive
I'll go
perception, so
from that
I'll
to
be quiet.
endorsement.
Sorry, what was that?
Endorsements?
Tyro's
What?
just sitting there wondering how it went from trying to get him to the Sapphire Citadel to endorsing.
It's impressive.
It's concerning and impressive.
So, are you gonna venture with them, or are you gonna continue on your current trajectory?
Where are they currently headed?
Uh, they are currently heading here.
I I assume to the Sapphire Citadel.
Yep, they're heading to the Sapphire Citadel.
Um,
Your
what
destination
time?
is over here.
What time would it be right now?
It is currently 3 o'clock in the afternoon. About 6 hours left
Um,
until the sun sets.
Tyrell would just ask Elbrick, does he know where his mentor is currently? That got him into the Sapphire Citadel. Devirus, I believe.
And I'd freak out a little bit because I'd be like, "Where the fuck did you come from?"
He's just sort of limping along.
I've been here the entire time. You just couldn't hear me. I
Sir,
was
I
too
hope
busy speaking silently into the void. Any more questions?
The hell happened to you?
You don't want to know.
I got Bill
It's
Cosby'd,
just a
man.
really, it's just a really, really bad time.
do you
All
know
I know
which
is thunder is a bitch of an element.
Yes, yes, it is. Uh, just so you're not bleeding and limping through. You look terrible. I'm gonna reach out and touch you.
Now get the pudding.
You look terrible, and then the ET finger
Wait, what?
glows.
As soon as you
Man,
touch,
this is a real
Here-
horny session so far.
oh, yeah, quite literally, because it's my horns. No, as soon as he touches me, and the finger starts to glow, you start hearing me swear because I immediately think it's starting to go bad, not in a good direction.
Yeah, that is fair enough. But you do get
Oh.
cured, so
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the reason he thinks it's bad is because the last glowy thing that touched him nearly killed him.
You get 8 hit points from my first level.
Why is it always me? This is the second time.
Well, it's 8 more than you had last time, and 8 more than you had the time before that.
Is that not-
Oh,
Did you see the visible knot on my head just kind of shrink a little bit?
Mhm.
some of the wounds just kind of the bruising lessens up a little bit. It's less of a limp and I don't know, more of a I don't even know now. It's something. But
Limp.
Gerald, thank you for that, and just yeah, it was not a good time.
I
The
look.
things that happened and they
Oh no, he's lagging.
Is it lagging?
would you know where Devirus is currently?
To be honest, I have absolutely.
Okay. Is there a possibility she's currently at the Citadel?
I mean, it's always a possibility, but normally I find her in the cultural ring.
Hmm.
Passing through the
Gerald.
cultural ring, you did not see DeVeris.
Hmm. Um. Going off that, then I mean, I guess Tyr would follow them for now and see if he can't bump into Devirus, and then just now that he knows where the grove is, he will head to that a little later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I can lose. Sorry, new guy. We're kind of ignoring you. This is a friend of mine. I kind of just, he was really fucked up. So, new guy. This is Tyrrell, a planar hunter and friend of mine, who normally is in better shape.
It's it's been a rough time.
Tyrrell, this is the new guy. He's come to get help from the Sapphire Citadel for his village.
The name is Garrett.
Get it? Okay. This is the new guy, Garrett.
Hmm.
Garrett kind of looks towards the giant ass dog and the tiefling. Just one to the other, one to the other, and just shakes his head.
Yeah, my friends, a range of interesting individuals. Well, we have me as a halfling, a giant ass dog, who is Samson as a pet Samson, tiefling, and then a metal man, and a giant cat lady.
A metal man?
Yeah, he's a
Don't
guy. He's the guy in
ask
metal armor.
questions like that. You'll if you stick around long enough, he'll come bumbling around somewhere. You'll understand.
He
It's
does
easier
tend
to
to.
In the distance, Nomad feels insulted for some reason.
Is it in the distance because you're wondering? Because we're telling you that you wonder and you're wondering.
bumbling around right now.
Whoa.
I don't know. Maybe you'll find out, maybe you won't.
Anyway, Tyrrell would reach out his hand and greet him, shake his hand, and introduce himself more, and then just say, "Well, since we're all headed to the same place, you might as well just take a walk."
Which hand?
Non-crispy, non-wrapped.
All right, left hand then.
Yep.
They're nothing.
Yeah, Corvo reciprocates.
And that would be something you notice on me. My right arm is perpetually wrapped.
Uh-huh. Corvo tries not to stare and fails.
Your name is Gary. What do you mean, Corvo?
Jesus. Tyrrell's just Tyrell's too done with the day to even notice that you're staring at the orb. He's just ready to just walk away.
So, actually, Garrett, just because of the items on your pack and everything, are you like your village's local alchemist or apothecary? Like, is that what she specializes in? Or are you just like one of the able-bodied individuals sent to town to try and get help?
Yes, it's not. It is not in a major crisis, but I was sent out and I have some minor experience with apothecaries, potions, uh, and poisons, alchemy, and my mother, the main healer of the village, she can't travel the lands.
Just be assured here. When you say poison, it's the healing of poisons, right? Not the actual making of them and selling them.
Both. I have only minor knowledge of how to use them and their properties.
Oh no.
Um, Garrett, I know you're, I guess I'm guessing you're from a small village because it's not actually very. You shouldn't go around saying, "Hey, I know how to build poison." That
Uh, I, I don't mean I have not used poisons in any uh, t- evil ways. I just, you know, he looks panicked.
yeah, no. See that reaction right there means that you're okay. It's just like just for future reference. When you go into a city and people talk to you, maybe keep to the fact that you know how to make poisons to yourself.
He nods, nods. Yes, yes, yes.
I
Thank
also look at Tyrrell to see if there are any signs of Tyrrell dying besides his already wounded stuff, because he might be poisoned. I don't know.
What do you do? Sorry.
I mean, his hair's
We
kind
I
of
just
standing up on end.
okay. He's fine. He's not any. Is he any paler than he usually is?
No, it's still the same shade of deep blue.
Yeah, okay, he's fine. He didn't accidentally get poisoned. I mean, it's pretty. Like I'm not. Elbrig is not subtle about it. It's very easy that we talk about poison and then I look over at Tiro pretty slowly and see to examine.
But after a few minutes of traveling together towards the Sapphire Citadel, the three of you do in fact get close enough where you can see the entry doors to the Sapphire Citadel, which, to your delight, perhaps, Elbrig and Tyrrell, you see a very familiar individual, hooded, cloaked, and everything standing out front, but quite obviously Devirus, as she seems to be having a conversation with an individual who, from your prior experience of meeting individuals such as this, looks to be wearing the same robes as the headmasters that you had encountered prior.
Well, I look at Garrett. Well, looks like you're in luck. My mentor, the person I poke my head at Tyrrell, also the person he's looking for, is currently talking to I think the headmaster. So you get to meet a lot of important people all at once.
that's great.
So, Corvo, Garrett, what have you, as you approach and Albrecht kind of calls us out, you see uh, standing before you, there are two individuals. One who looks to be wearing very, very well kept blue and gray robes with very colorful trim, uh, who appears to be some kind of half elf, perhaps. Can't really be sure from this distance, but the individual that is speaking to them is the one Albrecht had motioned to as his mentor, who also has a hood up and is wearing very kind of like thick robes and like covered with a cloak, but is clearly visible to be a dark elf. And this woman is probably about 5'10", 5'11", and just long white hair, and the appearance as she kind of turns to acknowledge your approach of red scales that seem to line the outside of her face and seem to continue down the side of her neck.
Garrett kind of inspects her at a distance.
And she just looks at the three of you, turns to what you assume to be the headmaster, and seems to thank them for their time, and they nod and walk back inside. And she just turns and looks at the three of you, looks at Tyrell, and I see you have come from Eartham and Majors. How'd that go?
They inform you already.
And she just looks at you.
Or can you just tell that this is Eartham's work?
Oh, it's quite apparent that it's Eartham's work. Uh-oh,
Yes,
someone's
understood.
vibrator's going off. And she turns to Elbrig, and I see you've brought a friend. And you are? And she looks at you.
Garrett, he and Garrett kind of does a little bow and tries to straighten out his hair, his disheveled hair. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
And she steps up
Acquaintance?
closer, and yes. And she steps up closer and kind of gives you a very inquisitive look. What is your last name, Garrett?
I fear from the village we don't have last names.
And she is just staring directly into your face and looks at the current company you have, and do not worry. You're safe. Even for
And
Avanice.
that kind of squints his eyes at her. I'm not sure what you mean.
And you see her produce a small letter out of her pocket. I believe you are also expecting Devlin to come visit.
Kind of slightly nods.
And she smiles and gives a very, very short bow. I am Devira's Scarlet Scale. Your uncle contacted me. Said to expect you.
I guess the bag's out of the cat. Wait.
Sorry, what?
Very tilted head. The what?
I'm sorry, what?
God,
You want to rephrase that, friend?
I'm sorry. English is my second language.
That's
It is
fair.
fine. It's fine.
I guess the cat is out of bag.
And she
Um,
just looks at you and kind of looks around. For future reference, if you do not wish it to be known, Garrett, your last name would be Morstat.
Morstat.
That is the name your uncle took. It would help.
Yep, I'm glad to know.
And she nods and... Well then. Why here?
He looks towards the Sapphires. He kind of mentions towards the citadel. Here?
She nods. What are you looking for?
Oh, I would require more knowledge before answering that fully.
She
And-
just nods and looks to the other two. Thank you. You are welcome to join us, or you may leave.
Elbrick and Tyro, you guys both see said Garrett immediately at the mention of Devlin straighten up, gain more composure in his pose, and act more elegant. He still looks a bit disheveled, but there's a change in the ambience around him.
Looking completely disheveled. I know that well. It looks glorious.
It does indeed.
Sorry, I had to take that call real quick. What did I miss?
Oh, DeViras knows him and was expecting him.
Okay. And then that's pretty much all I missed. They were just talking about now going into the Citadel.
Yeah, and she knows why he's here. Well, knew to expect him, but does not know exactly why he's here. And
Gotcha.
offered to take him from here, or that you two may join
Okay.
her.
Tyrrell would nod and tell her that he would like to join her and at some point needs to talk to her about a couple things.
She smiles and nods. And Albrig,
Oh, what?
would you like to join us, or do you have other things that need tended to?
You guys can go on with your stuff. I have places I was going to be. Today has been a day of distractions. I'm trying to get somewhere. I keep running to other people. Garrett, have fun. You guys all take care of each other. I will catch all of you at another time.
Thank you for guiding me here, sir.
No problem. Probably gonna have to anyway. But yeah, all right, cool. Bye, guys. And I'm just gonna turn around and walk away.
Right away, but yeah.
This is how I walk. Hold righty.
And they're off! But Devirus then looks to the remaining two of you and, well then, shall we? And turns to enter into the Citadel.
Go, got as follows.
Alright, and Tyrrell?
I turned to follow them.
Alright, and the three of you enter into the Sapphire Citadel. Bringing us right quickly over to Nomad, as you are sitting in the room brooding and ruminating on the previous events and occurrences.
Yep.
What would you like to do?
Nomad's just gonna chill in the room for the day, I think.
Alright, anything in particular you would like to chill on? You and I both know Nomad can't just like sit still the entire fucking day.
I don't know, man. He's had some shit go down. He would probably be writing in his journal furiously.
Okay. And anything for the evening plans?
He'd probably go take his usual walk.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
Sinbad will remember that.
Indeed. And jumping back over to Albrig, the colorful individual does not seem to have made their way in yet. Although you do see many, many stalls with much food, lots of things for sale, as well as a few individuals calling out to passerbys to perhaps sell them things, such as any materials they may have on them, threads, flowers, any kind of things that they could possibly make profit on elsewhere. But it does not seem to be this colorful individual among them. And before we continue with the other two of you, I'm going to take a short 5-minute break, check on the wife, check on the child, and I will be returning in about 5 minutes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
All right.
Yay.
She is trying to recalibrate her brain and wants some food before then. So, as we return, Tyrrell, Garrett, and Devirus have stepped into the Sapphire Citadel. And what you see on your left and on your right are two, looks like gates almost, but it looks more like a cage with a window cut into them. And on the other side are individuals with desks. And the one on your right, standing behind, looks to be admissions and information. I'm sorry, there's admissions and information. On the left is admissions, and on the right is information. And so Devirus steps up to the one that says information and just motions to the two of you. Come on.
Garrett kind of looks around. She mentions to where, like in the library or towards the admissions?
She motions towards information, which is where she's standing next to, and there's a man sitting there, and he just looks at all of you. Yes, Lady Devirus. And she just motions to the two of you. It's not for me.
Garrett shakes his head and goes towards the man. I search. I need information for common illnesses. I common illnesses in populated areas and stories and theories of the dream worlds.
And the man just nods and, are you a student here, or at one of the other citadels?
Looks towards the virus.
She just shakes her head. He's, visiting. Morstat. And the man just looks at her and, understood. Well, the public access library is here on the first floor, and he just kind of points towards the right. Over there should be the doorway into the public access library. From there, you should be able to find what it is you're looking for.
Out of curiosity, how can one gain access to the other libraries?
And he just kind of looks at you a little bit confused, and it kind of processes that you're out of town, probably never been to a citadel before, and he just, well, the way the Sapphire Citadel works is we are a location for higher learning for everything magical based. Magical creatures, spellcraft, spell understanding, magical lore, magical history, alchemy, and the such. You must enroll as a student, and if you enroll, you go through a process where you must demonstrate your capabilities. And should you be selected by the professors and allowed admittance, you will be enrolled into the classes that you so determine. It is a rather expensive process for many others. However, here soon will be the Festival of Sapphirus, where it is the one occasion in the entirety of the year that open enrollment for the Sapphire Citadel is opened, and the actual entry fees are waived for that day. The process still remains. You will still have to be, processed through, and should the professors acknowledge your potential abilities and whatnot, you will be allowed to enroll as a student, where you may study here. And as you progress more through the years and through the curriculum, you will be allowed access to various other libraries and other fonts of information regarding your particular avenue of study and research.
With each sentence he says, Corvo's head and shoulders drop down and down and down as he pinches his nose. That is good to know. Thank you for the information. And heads towards the public library.
All right. And then he turns to Tyrrell and just kind of gets a little bit of a shocked look, and then just kind of shakes it off, doesn't want to be rude. And for you, Guildmaster, how can I help you?
Well, I'm here, and I was gonna ask,
DeViris or someone. I wanted to look to talk to some of the higher ups here about some stuff.
And he just kind of looks at DeVeers, and she just kind of, I don't know. Uh, what do you mean by the higher ups, and in what capacity are you seeking, Guildmaster?
Um, just higher ups that would be privy to some more information than the normal, uh, I guess, teachers or people here. And I'm looking into, hopefully, you guys could help with some information about another Sapphire Citadel located in. What the hell is that place?
The
Anakoja
Orbix or Worstein?
Worseen. Yep. I was like, I wanted to say it was West something, not Worseen.
It was something. It was one of those. I knew it was either Orbix or Worstein, but I didn't remember which.
Orbix doesn't have one.
I
Well,
doesn't
even if
have a
it did,
planar
it doesn't
Husband
have
Guild
one
either.
anymore.
Yeah.
Orbix doesn't have Orbix anymore.
Yeah. And he just thinks of it for a minute. Well, if you're looking on information to the Worstein Sapphire Citadel, shouldn't you inquire at the Sapphire Citadel in Worstein?
If I could, I would.
He
I'm
just
hoping to.
nods.
It's a complicated issue.
He just thinks of it for a
That's
minute.
why I'm hoping.
Well, to be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure how. No offense, but a planar hunter would gain audience with, say, the headmaster or even any of the archmages. The professors, however, I'm certain would be more than happy to help you. Once their classes were done, of course.
Cyril will just kind of look over at DeViris and just be like, is this really the only option, or do you think you could help me a little bit, or am I just kind of SOL here?
DeVeers just looks at you with, I can only pull so many strings.
Yeah.
Yes, I am friends with the Archmage, and I am also friends with the Headmasters, but aside from that, I can't really help in this sense.
Mm.
You begin to kind of get the feeling that the Sapphire Citadel is its own beast altogether.
Yeah, no, he's had that feeling all along. He was just hoping maybe he could pull something.
Mm. It'd be kind of like, someone from the Sapphire Citadel being like, I need to speak to the heads of the Planar Hunters Guild.
Mm.
And then just going, um,
What the fuck do you want?
you could give the guild masters, like, pretty sure one of them might be able to help you, or lore keeper maybe. That's the kind of gist you're getting, is it's two separate beasts altogether.
Yeah, that's fair. Hmm. Cyril just tells him, he might stick around and think about it for a professor, but he's not quite sure they'll be able to answer what he's looking for.
He just looks at you. Well, perhaps if I knew exactly what it was you were looking to have answered, I could refer you to the correct professor.
Who's all around me currently?
Quite a few people look to be possibly students, some average citizens that are perusing.
Cyril would just look. Cyril would look at him and look at DeViris and just be like, if I'm to explain this issue, I would like to do it in more private settings.
And you see him just kind of look around. Well, this is about as private as you'll get, I'm afraid.
Well, I guess they said that they're all different, so hopefully that's the case. I want to look into information on why the Worstein branch was trying to hunt me.
And he just thinks for a minute. Again, like that would be something more in line with asking that particular citadel itself. The
Ah, yes,
Sapphire
they do speak it.
Citadels don't communicate like that. The Archmages do communicate with each other. However, if it's something from the Professor or the Headmaster, even, or even an Archmage, there's no need for them to communicate such things amongst each other.
So what you're saying is that there's possibly a way that the Archmage might know, but it's not likely.
I'm afraid not, but I cannot speak for the Archmage's understandings. They are, quite frankly, beyond us.
Mm. And how would I have to go about meeting this Archmage?
Well, there's 3 of them here at this citadel. There's another 4 at the one at Wersine, and scattered about at the other citadels, there's a collection of other Archmages. They are the highest authority in their fields, you understand. And as
Yes.
such, they have research and experimentation and understandings that we would never hope to come close to.
So what you're saying is they are usually in charge of very high-end projects and experiments.
Of their own machinations, yes. Although, if
So
you wish to seek one out, there, last I heard, one of the Archmages does reside near Obcassis, but not within. He supposedly he has some kind of summer home or something between Obcassis and Ventus Cross.
Hmm. All right. Maybe if I'm headed that way, I'll try to seek them out. Because I feel they're the only ones who will be able to answer this question.
Perhaps. I apologize that we cannot help you any further.
It's fine. I wasn't expecting too much. I was just doing it out of maybe a little bit of hope.
He just nods.
I came here fully. I just tell him I came here fully expecting a dead end. It's just worth a shot.
And you see him just kind of look around and perhaps if Lady DeViris would be willing, perhaps we might be able to arrange a meeting with the headmaster. I hear that he is quite busy preparing for the festival, of course, but perhaps something can be arranged. He looks at DeViris and she just. I'll try.
If he looks over there to me, also just look and just kind of tell her I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. I'm not well acquainted. I don't expect any favors, but I just want to get some answers.
She just looks at Tyrell and. Well, I just pulled a string to see about any higher education for Elbrig. Perhaps I can inquire into you as well if your issue and whatever it is you are seeking might have to deal with the Sapphire Citadel itself, whether it be here or in Wersine. I'm
Oh,
certain
it
the
definitely has
headmaster
to.
would like to know.
It definitely has to deal with them. I just don't exactly know why. They. It's a long story that I will, if you're interested, explain in private if that helps you make a decision.
She just nods. I'll see what I can do, Tyrell.
Thank
Now then, off to go find Garrett and help him see if he can't find the answers he's seeking. And to give a light bow and turn, begins walking into the public access library.
you. Sure, would turn back to the individual we were talking to and follow her suit and give a light bow and just thank him for his time and helpfulness.
Of course, if you have any questions regarding magic or whatnot, please be sure to come back.
Hmm, will do.
All right. What would you like to do, Tyrell?
Hero will now take his leave and start heading towards the grove.
All right. Do you have any weapons on you?
No, he would have left all of his weapons in his room for the day except for the one he couldn't get rid of,
All right, so
because his intent
just the
was
sword.
to go there.
All right. Which means that he would no longer be there. Hup, 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 hup. Tyrell will be up there. All right. We will cut over to Elbrig. In the merchant's ring, still no sign of the colorful merchant that you have heard about.
Damn, damn, damn. Uh, hmm. Going to the merchant's ring, like this is nothing against Samson, but do they have any like faster? Are there any stables or anything like that here in the castles?
As far as stables go, there are a few that are in the military ring, primarily for, of course, the Blood Onyx and the traveling higher echelons of the Blood Onyx. But as far as like for personal use or purchase, that would seem to be in the trade ring, where there are a few scattered about here and there. But you don't really know of any particularly like actual like stables or like where they rear horses, if that's what you're asking
Well,
about.
that's fine. I'm gonna go back to the trade ring and back to the Spell and Alchemists Guild. We're going there.
All right, you're gonna go check out the Alchemist Guild.
Yep.
All right.
Because, yeah. So to the Alchemist Guild, to the front desk, and still on top of Samson the entire time.
All right. As you make your way into the Alchemist Guild, the building itself is much smaller than most of the surrounding structures, and as you step in, it's rather quiet. Not terribly many people are here, and the individual at the desk there is also a halfling, and he's just seems to be half asleep, as it seems that his only purpose here is to be the receptionist, and he is just kind of halfway nodding off in the chair.
Is there a bell or anything on his desk?
Does not seem to be a bell. It's just an open desk with papers and a book, more like, on the desk with pen and whatnot. It's probably for check-ins, checkouts, and another one on the side that looks to be labeled acquisitions.
Oh, well, here we go. I quickly cast Minor Illusion, and right next to him, an ever increasing bell starts off. It starts off very softly, going ting 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 ting, and gets louder and louder over a minute's time until it's ting 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 ting.
Okay.
We'll stop as soon as he wakes up, but we're gonna see what level it takes to get the guy up.
Just sleep through the whole thing. You don't understand. This man is determined. No, I'm just kidding. Now, the moment it appears, he just kind of looks at it. That's weird. And then just kind of looks over at you.
Hello.
Okay. You see him just
Yeah.
sit up and pulls on a lever on the bottom of the chair he's on. You just see him just ascend.
All right. Nice. Anyways, I so I was wondering. Of course, you guys probably actually practice alchemy and everything like that here in your alchemist guild and everything like that. But what services do you guys offer besides like do I put in an order for specific things? Do you have a general inventory? How does this exactly work?
You see him just kind of get a little bit confused. Well, this is a guild for alchemy. and those that practice it. This is more of a location, unless you're looking for work, which that can be arranged if you are seeking employment. You can either join the
Or
guilds.
training?
No, for training you'd have to join the guild, of course.
How much is it during the guild?
The entry fee is 20 gold pieces.
What obligations do I have to the guild if I join it?
You're a member of the Akashan Alchemists Guild. You get a patch that signifies you as such, and any findings and discoveries you may make in the form of alchemy or alchemical processes will be credited, of course, to you, but it also brings credit to the Alchemist Guild here in Abcassis as well.
Okay, and any responsibilities I have? Do I have to like stay on premises, or can I check in once a month? What type of thing? How does that?
And he just thinks on it for a minute. Well, we don't really have too many members, and the ones we do have, typically one stays behind here to run the guild itself, and everyone else just goes about to collect materials needed, resources, components, and anything they discover they bring back or send back. There's no restriction on where you may practice. The guild just allows you access to information that the other alchemists have acquired.
Okay, wonderful. And if I were to join the guild and get training, how soon does that start, and how long do I get a like a personal mentor? What is the process of that?
Well, the guild master himself, he would be the one to help you educate, and your fellow guild members could also provide, I suppose, education. But as far as like mentorship, that would have to come down to an agreement between you and the master of this guild.
Who is currently not in?
He is currently unavailable, I'm afraid. Apparently, he's drowning his sorrows at the plastered boar.
Oh, well, that sounds messy. Whatever. I pull out a bag and count out 20 gold pieces and plop it onto the table. I would like to join the Alchemist Guild and get training. I have a minute amount of training, but I wish to become proficient as quickly as possible.
And he nods and takes 20 gold, counts it out. All right. And you see him pull a drawer out, opens up, sounds like a chest, and planks it all in, closes it, pulls out another drawer. You hear him rooting around a little bit, and then there it is, and pulls out a patch, and it's really cute. It's really nicely designed. It is a circular patch that literally just has Abcassis, the word Abcassis printed on the bottom, and a ring. And it is a bottle mixed with a beaker, or bottle crossed over a beaker. Each seem to be having fumes, what have you, for the emblem. And then AG at the top. And he hands it over to you. And for the name, and flips open the book, and pulls out the pen and begins to get ready to write.
Elbrig Hilltumble would be the name.
And he writes that down. Is that 1G or 2?
1G.
Okay. Writes the name in, and then just looks over. Nice dog. And closes the book, puts it back on the desk, taps it away, and well, as far as education goes and mentorship, I would seek out the guildmaster himself. And again, you will likely find him in some condition at the plastered boar. Though, honestly, I would recommend giving him a few days.
Makes sense. Also, actually, like, is there a merit system for like contributions, or do you do anything special for adding things to the knowledge of the alchemist skill?
Well, if you are so inclined as to sharing your discoveries and whatnot, and also providing us with materials to continue our experiments here if need be, or to share resources, you will be allowed access to more of the rarer materials that we might have on hand, depending on your contributions, of course.
All right. Well, I have something to contribute then.
All right.
I pull out uh, the necromancer's book about the oil of the remedy for petrification and the oil of depetrification, and uh, show it to him. So this, while not my own discovery, I think it is valuable knowledge for everyone to have. Uh, I weirdly enough, I got it from a strange source, but it does seem to be accurate. We actually, it has been made and tested, apparently extensively, but it is a way to make a remedy or an for petrification, oil of depetrification, uh, non-magically, just purely from actual herbs and the like. I, okay, out of character real quick. That is how this works, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm remembering this right, right?
It is.
It's
It is a
non-magical.
concoction of technically borderline magical, but at the same time, it's just like saliva from a magical creature.
Yeah, there
That
it
is
is.
the
So
main
as non-magical as you
magical.
can get in a magical world.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So there we go. So a non as non-magical you can get with magical creatures in the world, a way to depetrify someone. And again, I have with my own eyes seen it be made and it work. Here you go.
And he takes the paper and just has like this kind of shocked, blank expression on his face, and just, I haven't even made a folder for you yet. This is greatly appreciated. And you see him begin fanning through files. Roll a perception check for me, please.
Skills, perception. Yeah, I got a 3.
Okay, that's a lot of folders, but he already said that there's not too many people here, or that are still a part of the guild. And he just finds a blank folder, pulls it out, and then just slides yours in, and proceeds to write your name on the folder, and then files it away. I honestly, that's rather quick. Is there anything else? I'll be bringing this up to the guildmaster, of course, the first chance I get.
Um, you would happen to be free and okay with maybe giving a lesson or two, would you?
And he just kind of looks a bit sheepish. I don't have any alchemical training, I'm afraid. I'm
Oh,
a scribe.
oh, I am so sorry.
It's fine. It's understandable. I don't have the mind for it.
Sure, I mean, you sure? Because if you're a scribe, you've got the penmanship, I assume, and you should probably be pretty good at taking copious amounts of notes. I know from my time as kind of the pseudo scribe as the for the church back where I'm back from home.
Well, as far as jotting down recipes and understanding quantities, materials, and processes, I can write it, but I don't grasp the concepts.
I see.
I'm better at managing inventory, more like than actually performing anything.
A valuable skill indeed, especially with all the different ingredients and things you need for alchemy.
Indeed, I also have Well, I have a means of knowledge that the guild has found quite helpful of where to locate such rarer ingredients.
Oh well, yeah, that's also another cool one. Cool. Do you guys also sell potions like here, or should I be going to like a shop? Is there a recommended shop that you guys have a deal with or anything like that?
And he thinks about it for a minute and begins looking through the files again and pulls up one name, puts it down. No, that one's dead. Goes find another name, pulls that one up. I believe he's alive. And just seems to just pause and think for a while. Yeah, this one's alive. Are they still in Upcassis? And proceeds to go through a bunch of notes and whatnot.
Ah,
And
okay.
and he just pulls out some paperwork. Ah, yes. We are able to sell you some very minor, basic potions and whatnot for free if you provide us with the materials, or otherwise at cost.
And can I get a list of those basic potions I could possibly procure by trading in things?
I will say yes and provide you with that information later.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
Ah,
basic, minor, regular healing potions is obviously one of them. Another one being like basic, minor, like types of resistance potions. But that's the kind of gist of it.
yeah.
As
Well,
well
gotcha.
as poison and acid, very basic level.
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I grab that patch off the desk and look at it. Well, I have now a problem with the alchemist guild, I guess.
Indeed.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of the day. I'm off to do other things.
Very well. We look forward to your contributions.
Yep. Hopefully, I come up with one or two. God's willing. All right. Well, with that done, now part of the alchemist guild. Uh, not going to go bother the guy. He's drinking his sorrows away. I'll leave him alone. What was I going to do next? Right. This is this is which day of our first week there of our 2 weeks?
Today would be
This is
the 7th of Sapphirос, and you all arrived, I believe you arrived on the 3rd. So the 4th was your first day actually like fully in Upcassis to run free. So this is day number 4.
and it was a 2-day trip to Thunder. No, Thunderborough. But no,
Timberfall.
Timberfall. Timberfall.
Yes.
2-day journey, right?
2-day journey there and then 2-day journey back.
Samson is just about as fast as a horse. So I'm gonna go back into our keep into our room, gather supplies, and then I think I'm going to abscond for 4 days or maybe 5 days and go to Timber all by myself.
All right. Out of character, just so you're aware, the Festival of Sapphiros with the which is the festival of the Crown of Arcane, does begin in 2 days.
That's right.
But if you would like to go
Never
to Timberfall, that
mind.
is fine.
No, I'm supposed to be here for the festival. It's also supposed to be when that merchant needs to get here already. God damn it. So like I'd be like halfway towards the keep. I'm going to Timberfall, and then I remember about the festival and be like, "Oh, son of a bitch."
Yeah, as
Never
you're
mind.
passing through the cultural ring, you look to your right and you see them like literally setting up for the festival, like all the tents
Yep.
and whatnot. You're just like, Oh, right, that's a thing. Oh, right!
Yeah. Fuck. All right. Well, shit. All right. Well, I guess back to our daily routine. Time to time. Ooh, excuse me. Time to try and learn well, Thunder Whip. There we go. I'm gonna go somewhere in the coastal ring where I won't be in the way of people setting up stuff, and begin to see if I can actually uh learn Thunder Whip and change it to something like Water Whip.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go do my homework like I'm supposed to. You remember her telling me about that. So and for reference, just so that you know it, and so that it doesn't have to be something like out of uh creation of nowhere or something. Uh, the monk's water whip turned into a cantrip, I guess.
Alright.
If you look at the elemental monks, one of its abilities is literally called water whip. Just turning that into a cantrip.
Yep. Alright. And with that now said and done, Garrett,
Yeah.
as you enter into the Sapphire Citadel's public library, or public access library, it is not terribly impressive. It's impressive, but you've seen bigger.
Mhm.
And as you wander in, you notice that Devirus, after a little while, seems to follow in behind you. And there's just a couple columns, a couple bookshelves, and whatnot of general magical knowledge. And having understood what it was you were looking for regarding ailments, illnesses, perhaps of a magical nature, and also information on the dream wilds, she can more accurately guide you towards those particular locations.
Asha tries to guide me. He just mentions disregard the ailments things. This will not go as expected.
She just looks at you. I figured as much.
Mm. So how is Uncle?
She just thinks for a minute. Well, he doesn't speak much lately. He's wrapped up in all his issues there in the archive of Aestor over in Delviixnum. He's taken the name of Devlin Morstat nowadays, so hence the name I've provided you.
I see.
Aside from that, he typically sticks to his studies.
So is that the kind of man he is?
He's
You know, never
helpful.
actually spoken to him.
He's helpful, friendly, and willing to go out of his way to assist anything and anyone in any way he can. Granted, he will only go so far and will not put himself at too much risk.
Do you know when he is available to meet?
Well, the journey from Delviixnum to here is roughly about a week and a half or so. So, probably expect him to be here possibly the next 3 days.
That is good to know. Tell you what, you would know more in this library. Seems almost pitiful. D- d- Can I take a bit of your time and ask you about the dream wilds?
And she's casually, while this conversation is going on, she is tactically moving you through these shelves and columns and whatnot.
Yeah, and he's not looking at her while speaking, like, but looking at the books and inspecting, trying to see the titles and whatnot.
She seems to be tactically moving you so that you are nowhere near anyone else from the public.
Oh yeah, he goes along with it
Mhm.
totally, and he keeps his voice down.
And she proceeds to lead you over into a particular section and just, well, as far as documentation accessible to the public, there's not terribly much in here regarding the Dream Wilds. Otherwise, everyone would know everything about the Dream Wilds, including how to get there and how to get out. However, I have spent, unfortunately, a bit of time in the Dream Wilds, so I do know a bit more than many others.
Oh, you might be very helpful then. Uh, say, hmm, even this, he looks around. It, could we go a bit more, somewhere a bit more private?
She just looks at you.
Though he tilts his head. Am I asking for too much?
We've only just met, but I do know of a location that you can ask that particular line of questions and possibly get more answers. Although seeking an audience with such mannerisms might prove detrimental.
Hmm.
The current queen, her particular area of expertise is other realms, and in particular the dream wilds, the creatures and events within.
Ah, well. Well, for now, I thank you very much for your help. I am not even sure how to view you, to be quite honest. I am a bit in shock, new changes, new environment. I excuse my behavior. Or, if please excuse my behavior.
She just nods, and secrecy breeds distrust.
I have my own reasonings, but yes, that is true.
She
Then
looks around. Although I'm pretty sure if you have already called upon Devlin, the Queen would be well aware of his reasons for coming, as she is the Archkeeper of that archive that he works at. So perhaps she is already aware of your particular predicament.
I kind of looks a bit ashamed. Well, with secrecies. The name is Corvo. Corvo Avinis.
She smiles. Devere Scarlet Scale from Ironhold.
This will not be as easy as I thought it would be.
Nothing in life ever is.
Unfortunately, true it seems. I've been coddled by my noble heritage far too long.
She smiles. But things change.
That they do, they always do. Well, I should not take more of your time. I am going to see what I can find in here.
She nods. I will inform the Queen that perhaps she should expect you.
Kinda look, squints. What? I do not have any plans of meeting her?
And she just smiles, just in case.
Well, thank you for the thought.
And Deveris turns and begins to walk away.
He just spends his time there, trying, to get the information for his alibi persona and any information on the dream worlds.
Okay. You'll be spending plenty of time there, anyways. There's a few like basic level books regarding research and study into the dream wilds. That it is the plane between the material plane here that you are in, and also the realm called the Source, where all souls go to when they die, and that the dream worlds was made by the excess dreams leaking from the souls of the dead in the Source. And eventually it formed into this rather large area that seemed to mirror the material plane in a very strange way. It's perpetually in a dreamlike state. Things there are from your wildest dreams and your most terrifying nightmares. And that it was brought into control and stability through the efforts of two crowns in particular. Arknaus, the crown of death and change, and Cryasuna, the crown of the arcane. Who, Cryasuna, more often than not, presides within the dream wilds as kind of a watcher, more of an observer in some cases, just to keep an eye on things, whereas Arknaus, the 14th crown, had actually changed mortals into divine-like beings called Arankor, and that many of them govern the dream wilds themselves. And that there are some times where random events occur and the veil between the two worlds overlap. And then once that veil passes back to where it's supposed to be, sometimes things from the dream wilds get left here in the material plane. And other times, things from the material plane get left behind in the dream wilds. But that only those who are deeply in tune between the two worlds of dream and reality have been rumored, whispered, and storied to be able to actually bridge that gap intentionally.
Curse this. Curse this all. He is not happy. But oh well.
Now that's unfortunate, lad. But, yeah, and the rest of the day seems to be pretty uneventful and pretty quiet.
Yep.
At least for Corvo. And I'm going to take another short 5-minute break, check on the wife, and see where we are at there, and then I will be back. And now
Oh,
we
my.
return. Hello, honey.
Hello. It is I.
So, what would Misted like to do?
Aside from being a T-posing cat?
Yes.
It's a shame that, because T-posing is her favorite thing, obviously.
Obviously.
Obviously. Well, aside from that, she's got to see a man about some lore.
Okay. What man?
Well, obviously, she has to go see, you know what? Does she know New Proavis? Like, does she know that's a thing?
She doesn't know.
Okay, then she needs to go see Proavis about a thing.
Okay. Do you know how to get to the annex?
Sure doesn't, but she's sure gonna ask her mentor.
Okay. So Dvori has not returned yet.
That's gay. That's real gay.
Yes, she is.
God damn it.
Although there are plenty of Night Fang and Blood Onyx around you can ask.
Well, have to put Eggy in a pack. Off we go.
Alright. And sure as not. You ask around, and the same Night Fang that the others have asked just kind of, come on, rolls his eyes and proceeds to lead you down into the annex. And second verse, same as the first. There's a locked door in the corner of a room that you probably wouldn't even notice unless you knew it was there. Leading down the spiraling stone steps to the landing platform where a man behind a desk offers you a torch.
A torch? Like just an
Torch.
open, uncovered torch?
Yep, a lit torch.
But it's got no manner of covering?
It's a torch.
I'm going into a place with books.
You don't have to take it if you don't want to.
One moment, please. Mm. Well, Mistin's going to give a little sheepy grin and take the torch and thank the nice man for the torch and gesture towards the door. May I go in?
Well, there's no door there. There's just more stairs heading down.
Just a doorway. Gotcha.
Yeah. And as you proceed down the steps, you now see the purpose of the torch, as it is complete pitch black darkness.
Ah, delightful.
And after a few more flights of downward going spiral stairs, you come to a pitch black dark landing with a door on the other end.
Obviously I go to the door.
All right. And as you open up the door, there seems to be a location where you can holster this torch on the wall.
Um, I would do so and then just kind of attempt to see if there's any light on the other side. Like, is there a reason I can leave my torch here?
Yeah, you open the door, it's well lit,
Okay, perfect.
and you step into the annex, which is very expansive, seems to stretch on for possibly a mile or so, and is a massive library, floor to ceiling with bookshelves, corridor and row after row after row of these bookshelves. There seems to be books, scrolls, tapestries, display cases with some rather odd items within them, tables that stretch down between each collection, and Yeah, it's just a massive library. And just take a few steps and look around. You see Madris and Eartham standing guard in front of what looks to be a monstrously large door made of stone and metal, which you can probably assume to be the vault. And
Oh,
Madris is giggling to himself still.
I'm gonna go straight to go see my peeps.
Okay. You walk up and you see Madris has reassumed his position within the chair. And Eartham is still standing guard, unfazed, unmoving, just leaned against the wall, with Tyrrell's sword tucked behind him.
And Miss can very plainly see that.
It's very plainly Tyrrell's sword.
Well, at least now I know what's so funny. Misted saying this out loud.
And Madris looks over. Oh, it was great. You should have seen it.
He leave that here willingly?
And just Eartham cracks a slight smirk. Absolutely not.
Well, he probably deserved that.
Well, we gave him the option of one or the other, and he chose the other.
Tyrrell never did tell the rest of us that he couldn't let go of the sword, did he?
Nope.
Good job, Tyrrell.
Well, he mentioned it in the room with Sinfori, but didn't go
Yeah.
into detail too heavily. So those of you that were in that room were aware that he was unable to actually release the sword.
Hmm.
Or to be parted from it.
Alright, looks like he got parted from it, alright.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was wondering if you two could possibly direct me. I don't really know organizationally how they have this whole library set up. She waits for them to confirm whether or not they'd be able to direct me towards anything.
Majors just looks over. Sorry, I was dealing with toddler.
Mm.
Majors looks over and just goes, well, if you're looking for the vault, you found it.
I don't know. I don't know if this is sensitive enough information to be kept inside a vault. I'm just looking for any and all information on the lost continent that I may not have already heard or read.
They just kind of look at each other.
I figured with this being the next largest collection of knowledge, I figure this place ought to have something that I've never heard or read before.
Majors just looks over and I don't think the flower trick's gonna work this time.
Flowers?
No, don't worry about it. Just don't eat the pudding.
Shame that. I like pudding.
Zippity zappity zoop. Anyways, and Major just kind of gestures vaguely into there. Pravis is somewhere around here. And since he's the one who takes care of his entire annex, organizes everything, puts everything where it goes, he'd be the one to ask.
Thank you, I suppose. And she's just going to start wandering off in the direction that was gestured.
Just vaguely gestures to the whole room.
I just gestured to, well, everything.
You just gestured to everything. Yes.
Helpful, thanks.
But after a good couple minutes of wandering about, you see Proavis, or what you would assume to be, which is a much younger man, who seems to be organizing books and putting them in different locations.
Hello there?
Yes. Oh, it's one of you. What do you want
Uh,
to know?
I'm, s- I'm sorry, one of you?
He just blank, deadpan stares. What are you looking for?
Um, Very well then. I was hoping you could point me in the direction of information that would have been cataloged about Portage.
He just looks at you and tilts his head. Never the easy stuff. Well, whatever's left of it would be somewhere in that corridor there, and just motions to one that's about 4 cases behind you.
Now, when you say motions to one that's about 4 cases behind me, is it very plainly the one that he's gesturing at, or does he appear to just be gesturing to get rid of me?
A little bit of both.
Oh, you raggedy bitch.
That rat bastard.
Mister's got time, but she ain't got time for you, sir. Mister's just going to walk away and go check it out.
It looks to be cartography with maps and lore of the land. Just collections of it.
Do you know what it's time for?
Go ahead.
It's time for a readathon.
Well, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Butterfly in the sky.
I
I
can
can
go
go
twice as high.
Take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow.
As it turns out, my perception check was absolute garbage. I was far too distracted by that raggedy bitch trying to dismiss me.
Okay. And, yeah, you sit there looking around and you see nothing regarding Cortash, the Lost Continent, aside from, like, research theories, perhaps, speculations as to what happened to it, but nothing actually of significance. Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me, please.
19.
Okay. It takes you quite some time, but as you keep searching through more and more and more, you start to find like some niche, smaller like journals and shards of possible information. But anything that seems to actually like point to Cortash or any part of it, its location, its history, what have you, it just seems to be gone. Like there's whole chunks of journals and books and whatnot that are just unreadable or completely missing. As if the ink was just simply removed from the page. And you find a collection of maps, like very old cartography maps of like the entire world, possibly some that used to be like, oh, excuse me, some like naval charts, like just anything regarding Cortash is just seemingly blurred out or just like it's been removed somehow.
Well, that's not nice. That's not nice at all.
But eventually, with enough searching and actually like close inspection on a lot of things, you kind of start piecing together that whatever happened to that, it's applied its effects to basically everything regarding Cortash. And you do find a single scroll that looks to be probably a couple 100 years old that actually details out what seems to be the events immediately following the disappearance of Cortash.
Well, it's time to jot down everything I possibly can in the handy-dandy notebook.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that you have gone through the same experience as the others that have been down here. Whereas you went to go reach for each one of the books, or reach for a book or a scroll or what have you, a ghostly figure appeared next to you, pointed to whatever it is you're fucking reaching for, and then pointed to a box at the end of the column. And following this spectral apparition, as this seems to be very familiar to you as you spent a lot of time there at the archive, and seems to be similar to the three at the desk upon entry into the archive. Just kind of following the motions. Seems to be a pre-programmed something, spectral form, what have you. And as you go over to a box that is on the end of these columns, you open up the box and there's a pair of gloves.
Baha! Gloves.
Hmm?
Are they, of the variety that will, fit my gigantor paws?
They seem oddly shaped, but perhaps.
Gonna try and put them on.
Yeah. And as you go to put them on, they seem to stretch and expand to meet the size of your enormous paws. And
Most excellent dude.
then tighten down so that they're a comfortable, tight fit. And you go and you retrieve this scroll. And it, with the gloves, it just opens on its own. And yeah, this scroll seems to depict the events immediately following just the disappearance of Cortage, which it referred to as a calamitous event. That suddenly homes were submerged, ships were pushed farther out to sea than anyone remembered the sea being, and just that the world became disconnected from itself and from each other, but that no one seems to remember how or why, or what it was like possibly before. And that despite any attempts to remember, no one could. But everyone just felt like something was different, something was off. And any voyages attempting to find Cortage was met with nothing but pure open ocean. That's those that on instinct alone could locate things, even trying to find it was met with just open ocean. No one could find any bit of it, not even a mountain peak in the distance, nothing. It just seemed to simply vanish into the waves. And then it wasn't too long after that that the refugees, as they called them, began to appear in the other continents, such as the Shattered Peaks, the Sprawl, Venaru, and Zerdo, among the other smaller islands and smaller continents that would be scattered about. Those being the races such as the Tabaxi, the Furbolgs, and in very rare case, the actual Cretacean race themselves. But no memory of what happened to their home. Just they remember it just no longer existing.
Well, Misted scribbles this down in the notebook and gives a sad little sigh and goes to return the scroll.
And floats out of your hand and goes back to where it was supposed to go.
It's you said it floats?
Floats.
Misted waves at it. Goodbye.
And it wiggles as it goes back into its place.
Like, my goodness. What a polite little scroll putting itself back where it goes on the shelf.
Well, like the gloves, but yeah.
Still very cool. Still very cool. Well, that's just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else of any kind of interest appears to jump out at me.
Marriage rituals from the continent and history of that kind still exist. There is
Missed it.
the cultural phenomenons of that particular clustering of races and whatnot.
You see, Misted needs the marriage one. She retrieves that one next.
Okay. There is also a book detailing the tribes of the Tabaxi, though there's
Also
no
that one.
physical descriptors of their home. Kurtashian culture, including beliefs, ceremonies, etc.
Yeah, Misted's gonna be here a while.
Okay.
If anybody needs her, she'll be writing in her book.
All right.
The next 40 years. Goodbye.
There is also a rather old tome, it looks to be, that has a rather really ornate cover that seems to detail out possible noble bloodlines.
Fuck it, put it on the stack.
All right.
We're jotting down everything.
All right, and I will go over that with you at a later time, because I'm not going through the 3 hours it'll take to actually go through all of those. At least not
Indeed.
currently. But is there anything else Mystic would like to do while she is down here?
She's probably also going to see if she can find any information on the Stardust Dragons while she's down here.
All right, easy enough. There's the bestiary section. Roll a perception check again for me.
So it turns out I'm way more interested in knowing about my dragon.
Pretty easily, you find a book regarding a particular individual who bred dragons and studied them intensely, though seemed to greatly stray from or greatly avoid the larger of their particular kind, and focused more on the smaller and more manageable breeds of dragons.
I mean, very fair.
And easy enough to find this one. You would sit down and open it up real quick, and through the through the pages you find many strange different dragons, such as the Burgoid dragon, which is about 8 inches wide in diameter, and they are almost completely spherical, aside from very stubby legs, a very short tail that comes out the end, and their head seems to be completely merged with the rest of their body. And
No neck?
they have no neck and very little wings. And the author even denotes in this that they are shocked at how these things are still able to survive, as they seem to have no defensive capabilities aside from bouncing and rolling away from predators. Although they seem to be completely impervious to any sort of bludgeoning that afflicts them. So they can be dropped from the top of a mountain, hit the ground at the very base, and then just bounce away. And he even knows that it is quite likely that they do not actually even have much of a brain to speak of, as that kind of impact and force would probably turn most things' brains into just goop. But it does not seem to affect them in any manner. Continuing on, there is, of course, the passage regarding the Stardust Dragons. Not terribly much is written here, as it seems the author was only ever able to find one, and was unable to find another to breed them. Although they only grow to be about 2.5 to 3 feet long, to the maximum, can live for upwards of 3, 4, maybe 500 years. and are absolutely loyal to the first thing that they see when they hatch. And that even upon the death of whatever it was that they first, or whoever they saw upon their birth or emergence from the egg, they will remain by their side even after death. Until there's literally nothing left of them, and then, after there's not even a trace of them left, will then venture off to go find a new companion. But that the egg that they actually hatch from is full of gems, rich in minerals, and they're also shards of things such as gold deposits, silver deposits, some of the more rare eggs that were ever found. Also had bits of things such as like copper, bronze, platinum, and etc. in it, but in very minuscule amounts. But that this seemed to be a source of food for the young dragons for quite a while upon being born. But that aside from that, they seem to subsist entirely on stone, unprocessed metal, and gemstones and rare metals. That completes their entire diet. And that they do not eat terribly much, and also have a particular affinity for defending themselves in a very strange manner. They exhale a dust that, for most inorganic materials such as like hair and whatnot, turns it into dust, very fine sand-like material. They can also use this on things such as rocks and stones to completely erode them into this sand-like material, which they then eat. And aside from that, not too terribly much else is known about them.
Very well then. This man did not lie to me.
His information is good, but it could be better.
It could be better, but the point is that man did not lie to me.
Nope.
Yeah, that's that.
Alright, and you are going to spend the rest of the day and into the evening reading the rest of your books?
Indeed, indeed.
Alright. Which can bring us to Nomad. Anything else for the day or evening that you have thought of?
Oh no, he's dead.
Damn you, blimp.
I was muted the whole goddamn time.
Yeah.
Aside from writing in his journal about his harrowing experience and the, of course, walk. Nope.
Alright, and we can do the walk either after or next. Next session.
Let's do it next session.
Okay. Tyrell.
Tyrell, are you alive?
Yeah, Tyrell.
Hold on, real quick.
Those were words. I don't know what they were, but those were words.
It says, give me 5. High five, buddy. Alright, so Elbrig is just practicing for his homework.
Correct.
All right, and I can actually provide you with that stuff in a little while.
Question:
What's up?
does Corvo have any idea of a place to rest, or does he have somewhere to sleep and rest?
He had just arrived into Abcassis, so he has not visited any of the taverns yet, and I was actually about to get to that. So, Corvo, what would you like to do now that you have spent a decent amount of time trying to study up and figure out what little you can about the Dream Wilds?
With a frustrated sigh as he closes down his book, he looks, to the roof and, whispers to himself, "Time to get home, I guess," and realizes there is no home. Um,
Home is where you make it.
he exits the Sapphire Citadel and I guess just looks around, probably the residential ring. And while he is looking around for the different taverns, he is keeping an eye out for any thieves' cant signals or messages left behind by any other rogues as he walks
Okay.
among the city.
Give me a perception check, please.
Can I do investigation?
Yeah, just perception.
Okay,
Because you got to notice.
16.
All right. As you wander around Residential Ring, you see a few marks that you recognize on many of the actual residential houses. Some of which dictate out who would be easy in that sense. And as you come up to several of the larger houses, every single one of these larger houses just strictly states stay away. Do not attempt.
Thought so.
There is, however, one singular house as you come down towards the more southern side, southwestern side of the residential ring. You see one that is completely plastered with books, or not, sorry, not books, pages of bounties and job offers and various different notes and notations, and very, very small and printed on the corner of the door, you see the mark of ally.
And this is on a house.
It is one of the larger houses. This one right here.
Yeah. I don't trust this. Does it have any fenced off area
No.
or
It is very open to the street. It's just completely plastered with posters and job offers and whatnots, and these seem to be posters and everything from all across Venaru, and some that are even in Zerdo from where you're from, and others from the Sprawl, some from the Shattered Peaks far to the north. Just posters and whatnot from everywhere. And you see that there is, in fact, a singular light coming from inside. Looks to be firelight from a fireplace.
Goro's gonna say fuck it? Puts on the clothing that hide most of his features, and a hood up, and goes up to the door and knocks.
You hear the sound of boot steps approaching. Yes, yes, just a moment. It's everyone's favorite, I know. And the door swings open, and standing there before you looks to be a human man, with kind of darker hair, a little bit disheveled, and just very not like fluffy, but like very almost noble and regal tunic and attire underneath, and a straight up just green jacket. And he kind of
Like,
just leans up against the door and looks at you.
uh, I'm a I'm a traveler, and excuse me for my poor introduction and taking your time, Garrett. Uh, I'm a traveler, and this house piqued my interest.
He just looks you up and down. Well, you don't have to be so coy with me. Come on in.
I'm either gonna get murdered. Corvo just, fine, goes in.
And as you step through the door, shuts behind you.
Not
And
gonna get murdered, am I?
and inside, it is clearly possibly what used to be royalty, but has since fallen into dust and slight disrepair. And he's literally just got a few couches set up with a fireplace fully lit. And having understood what that mark had meant outside his door, he's used to people like you.
So that I should make dinner? Is that what you're saying? Or just the walls, basically. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he just sits down and, so, what can I help you with?
Well, I'm new to the city and no, looking to gain a few friends in the right places.
And you see him just kind of look you up and down. Well, it's a bit rude, isn't it? Just to come into someone's home and remain all clustered up and covered. Please, get comfortable. Relax.
Oh, uh, okay, it isn't easy to relax, but sure. And takes off his hood and cloak, and finally gets off his backpack and see like sighs a does a sigh of relief.
And he just watches you relax and just kind of just waits for you to get settled, I suppose, would be
I
the phrase.
tears. Corvo looks around. Is anybody breaking through any holes? Does he feel any eyes looking at him? Like, is he about to get murdered?
Oh, he's always about to get murdered.
Yeah, but he's more so than usual.
No, not really.
Okay.
And the man just stretches his feet out onto the table in front, reaches into his jacket, and pulls out a rolled up what looks to be some kind of paper, perhaps tobacco. I'm not entirely sure, but it has a very odd scent to it. Lights it and starts smoking. So, what can I do for you?
Well, I saw those posters outside of your house. What do they mean?
Oh, well, I'm an information broker. If
Ah,
there's anything to be done, any job needing dealt with, well, I have a hand in most every bit of it, if not all of it.
I see, I see, I see. Well, have you, do you also give out jobs?
Well, of course, if the pay is good enough. Although, I must ask, what is your name?
I mean, we've only met each other, so let's go by Garrett, shall we?
Garrett. Well, I'm Oren Gaius. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Seems so.
You see him just kind of look you up and down. I'm not certain what kind of job you'd be looking for.
Oh, well, anything to make ends meet. I've been my purse has been rather light.
Again, he's just looking at you with a sly smile on his face. Well, travel will do that to somebody, I suppose. Everyone must travel to get to Upcastus, of course. Though I do have a job that you can partake in.
I also have information. I traveled from quite afar. Although, some information that even you might have not heard.
Well, I tell you what, how about a deal then?
Ah, yes, a deal with an information broker. How sensible. Continue on.
If you bring me any information of which I am not already prior privy to, I will pay you a gold piece per bit of information.
On only a gold for
One
each.
gold piece.
Would that gold or would the pay be changed with the value of information?
Unfortunately not. I only deal in singular gold pieces per transaction. And just as likely, if you have any questions you would like answered, all
A
I
gold.
ask is one gold piece.
Well. So, to get my gold to spend on you, I first have to do a job, right?
He just smiles.
Corvo just looking at him and is blank for words at this point.
You see him just take a deep drag, sigh, and we can drop the charades. I'm already well aware of who you are. Don't worry, I won't be telling anybody. There's a reason you left. However, if you are looking for a place to...
He just puts his hands up. I give up. I give up.
Well, you see, the eyes are one thing that gives it away. However, I am fully well aware of why you are traveling, who you are traveling from, though I don't know what it is exactly that you're seeking. It's none of my business either. However, knowing your circumstance, I can tell you that the Waking Crow next door does have room and board. If you are looking to stay in the city for a while. And that is my one free bit of information for you. I will ask no other questions, and I will tell no one.
Well, that alleviates one problem. I still have the other of money. Seems like I will need it. I will give you a gold if you help me find a suitable job. My skills betray my lineage.
And he just kind of looks at you. I tell you what, we'll make this easy for right now. If you are able to provide me again any information that I may not already possess, I will pay you. And you can be as specific or as vague as you would like. I will pay you if it's something I have not heard of before, including any possible job offers.
It's a job offers for what?
If you hear of anyone needing help or assistance of any kind, send word to me, bring it to me, and I will pay you if I have
Ah,
not already received it.
okay, that's fair enough.
You see
Well,
him produce a single coin from his pocket. Let me show you this transaction then. And he holds the gold coin out to you.
And he looks at it. What information have I given to you?
No, he's just. Well, this is for the information I wish to ask about.
Ah, takes the coin.
Right. You see him sit up. What would bring someone with a lineage like yours so far from home that even Devlin wouldn't mutter a word about it?
Oh, well, a matter of factors, but call it survival instinct.
Hmm. So you are fleeing home for your own safety then?
He just shrugs. That would be another gold coin.
And he just gets this big grin on his face. See? You're learning already.
Uh, it, I am a quick learner. At least that's what I've been told.
He just sits back. Well, now that you've gotten the gist of how this works, that gold coin there should provide you enough time, room and board there at the Waking Crow for at least 10 days.
Ah. Carl stands up, does his pants off, and offers a handshake. It is I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. I foretell that we shall have a good relationship.
I would certainly hope so. And he leans forward and shakes your hand. Garrett.
Yeah. Boris forgot the name. Sorry.
Oren.
Orn. Okay. Orn. Well, I must be going then.
He nods. As they do. Well, be sure to rest well.
And he takes the backpack, leaves, goes to the waking crow, grab or tries to grab a room.
As you enter into the Waking Crow, you see that the bartender there seems to just be just as you've seen humans, you've seen tieflings in your travels. This is a tiefling that resembles more of like a Goliath or maybe an orc than a tiefling. Just a big fucking dude.
Yeah. Corvo tries to not make a dumb comment in front of a big guy.
He just looks at you. Yes, can
Uh,
I help you?
Room,
Room.
please. Yeah.
Well, who told you we had room? He just kind of squints his eyes a little bit.
A certain friend next door.
And you just look around. Damn you guys. Alright. How long will you be staying?
Puts down the same gold coin. He said this would do for 10 days.
Let it will. Alright. And he takes the gold coin and just palms it real quick and it's just gone. He opens his hand and the gold coin's just gone. Alright. In the back, around back where we make the food, there'll be a doorway. You'll find your room there. You see him just lift the barrier to behind the bar.
Goes in.
And as you move towards the back, you see there's a door that looks to be just squarely in the side of the wall. Does not look like it belongs.
Enters it, or opens it.
It is a fully furnished, looks to be like a small apartment. With a chest slash lockbox at the very baseboards of the bed for your supplies, and plenty of open counter space, desk space, if you would, for anything you might particularly wish to partake in. A wardrobe on the other side for obviously your clothing, and a rather decently comfortable looking bed.
I am surprised. Corvo just sets his backpack down, gets off his rough clothing, and collapses on the bed.
All right, it is surprisingly comfortable.
I do not know if I have been blessed or cursed, but I shall live on.
Yeah, Orin has that effect on everyone.
Not everyone.
Oh, you feel like you haven't been blessed or possibly cursed? Please.
I enjoy his company greatly. We get along so well.
Sure you do, Tyrell.
Yes, Orin. It's just a great time whenever he's around.
Right? The confetti was just the greatest. So, Corvo, anything else you would like to do for the evening aside from just sleep?
Get out a notebook and start writing. You know, what he learned, the people he met, and then open up a second notebook and start filling out more details about Garrett that he fabricated. Mannerisms to replicate and so on. And in his first notebook, write down on the first page with giant ass letters, fix eye color, and underline 2 times.
It's a good one to have. All right. Tyrrell,
Yes.
you have made your way to the smaller gate that you recall, and quite easily made your way out of it, because the city has been opened up yet again. And, yeah, they weren't kidding. You immediately just turned your left and you see a colossal grove of trees. Probably about 200, 300 feet away from where you're currently standing.
Tyrell just sits there and looks and goes, I don't know if this is the right place.
Tyrrell is internal monologuing an asshole.
Oh, if I see this, I would start making my way downtown.
Tyrrell somehow survives this. All right.
I survive many things. You just
really
don't
shouldn't.
believe. I really shouldn't, but I do. Joke's on you, Electric Boogaloo.
All right. Well, you make your way to the edge of this grove, forest. Might as well just be a fucking fortress of trees.
Yes, I see.
And you particularly see a collection of things such as squirrels, mice, and birds just perched and staring at you.
Like intently watching or just like staring?
A little bit of both. They're animals, you can't really read them.
That's fair. Well, I continue my way through and just start working my way through the grove.
All right. Perception check, please.
Alright, give me just a second.
Mm-hmm.
You said perception?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes, the great old 9. I perceive trees.
You do indeed. And even more birds, squirrels, mice, rats, groundhogs, a singular deer.
Hmm. Do they seem to be coming out in force?
They seem to be somehow following you, or for some reason.
Be a little unsettling, but I'd continue my trek either way.
I feel like I remember this level from Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
Shh, you remember no such thing.
I feel like I remember this.
You don't remember anything. Got it?
You saw nothing.
But yeah, you continue making your way through, making your way.
Yep.
Until eventually you come to a clearing. And you see nothing and no one, but the animals are still keeping their distance but following you.
Tyrell would walk into the clearing and just kind of look around and see if maybe there's another path or if this seems to be like the end point, and if I'm just not noticing anything.
Seems to be the end of the road, as the clustering of trees around you is too close to really be any like walkable path, aside from just climbing through the trees. But as you kind of just sit there and look around, you notice that the animals have stopped at the edge of this clearing and do not seem to step any further.
Looking back and seeing this, Tyrell just kind of mumble, "That's concerning."
They're just staring at you, goat eyes included.
Tyrell just looks at them for a bit and then just kind of looks around the grove. Is there sign of anyone? If there is no sign of anyone, then he would simply make his way towards like the middle-ish of the grove.
Okay.
And just kneel down, then wait a couple minutes, and eventually, if nothing shows up, he'll actually call out for Pellatora by name.
All right. At the mention of Pellatoria,
Mm.
you notice the trees kind of shift a little bit. Almost like they started to turn towards you.
Oh, Tyrell would take this as a decent sign and would do it again, but then just continue and explain that he is the new guild master for the Orbix branch of the planar hunters that deal with extraplanar beings. And that he just would like to meet her and has some questions.
You see the trees again turn a little bit, and you see the trunk of one of them seems to just twist and open. And from this opening, you see a dryad appear.
I see her. Tyrell would stand up slowly and just bow, assuming that this is her.
And very slowly, the bow is reciprocated. And she seems to just look at you, watch you.
Tyrell would sit there and introduce himself in full name. You My name is Tyrrell Arlius. I am now the new head of the guild for Orbix, and I have come here to meet you, as I would like to gain some knowledge.
And you see her just kind of look over past you and across all the animals, and one by one, they all just kind of back up and disappear back into the forest. And she just looks at you. Then ask.
I'm sorry.
And that's where we're going to pick up next session.
Oh boy.
You made it this far, buddy. Finally, you made it a total of, counts the number of hours, 4 hours later in the day.
Oh, by the way, I was going to fill you in on this, but would I have passed the Planar Hunters getting on the way from the Sapphire Citadel?
No.
Okay.
The Planar Hunters Guild is in the military ring.
Okay, I wouldn't have gone that way then. I gotcha.
You
But
passed
next
right
time
through
I
the
go by
military ring.
that way, next time I go by that way, which I'll probably handle next session, then he would drop by and inform them the status of Gage Dimnova
Mm-hmm.
and get that sent out.
All right. Well, I will catch everybody later.
Later,
Thanks
buddy.
for the session.
Yep.
Thank you very much for the session.
Perhaps we can do the walk and talk a little bit more at another point in the week before next session.
Of course.
Later.
Later.
See why I accent nerd?